Hey guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am Hebe Hyam. You may know me as Hebe Hyam PT, and I love talking about everything fitness, mindset, and nutrition. So today I'm bringing you through my ultimate leg day workout. I asked so many people on my Instagram, like, what do you want to see from me? And this is one of the things that they said. They wanted me to talk through a workout. So I thought, what better to start with a leg and booty day, especially because when I first headed into the gym, I did feel a little bit unsure as to what I was doing. And this is exactly what I used to do. I used to watch Whitney Simmons, and I absolutely adored her literally from such a young age. And I literally used to take her with me, like on my phone, to the gym, and I used to just follow all of the workouts. So I know for a fact how helpful this is, and I really hope that it helps some of you guys too. Before we get into the workout, if you don't already, I would be truly grateful if you were to subscribe to my channel and join my fitness fam. But without further ado, let's get straight into the workout. Okay, so first of all, I want to start with a warm-up. How many of you guys actually warm up? Because I know I used to be guilty of this and not fully going through a warm-up and like mobility session before. So it is really cold in here, and you can completely opt for whatever warm-up you want to do, but I am literally going to hop on the rower for like 5 minutes maximum. I hate the rower, but obviously we are limited to kit in Nova. I do much prefer the ski erg, but I always use it because I prefer it. So I'm going to be mean to myself and I'm going to use the rower.
She poppin' and droppin', she rockin' top, it's no stoppin'. Got me deep in my pockets, I'm about to give her my wallet, and I'm like, yeah, I'm like, wow. She poppin' and droppin', she rockin' top, it's no stoppin'. Got me deep in my pockets, I'm about to give her my wallet, and I'm like, yeah, I'm like, wow.
So now we have our heart rate just like raised a little bit. We're gonna carry on with a little mobility just to, again, keep us warm and just let our muscles feel just that little bit more supple. So we're gonna start with some ab walkouts. Matt absolutely hates these, but I actually quite enjoy them. So I'm just gonna show you a little demonstration quickly. Then we're gonna go completely all the way down and up for 12 reps. So we're gonna roll slowly down, and we're gonna walk the hands out. So my legs are still bent. I'm walking all the way out into this plank position, keeping my core tight, and I'm gonna slowly walk back and roll up. So you can, if you have enough like flexibility in your hamstrings, you don't have to bend your knees, but you can if you want to, because a lot of people used to say to me, you don't bend your knees very much. I just have quite flexible hamstrings. So we're gonna go for 12 reps, let's go.
Why you wanna test me? You're so sexy, come on in. Messy, wet up like a jet ski. Work it out and ride it like a 10-speed. My little baby, takes the pain away. My little baby, takes the stress away.
So now we're a little bit more out of breath. We're gonna go straight into some standard squats, just some body weight, just to warm those legs up a little bit more. When we're coming into a squat position, we're gonna break at the hip. So you're gonna break down here, and you're gonna sit back into that squat position here. So my weight isn't forward. I'm sitting back like I'm sitting onto a seat, slowly down and up. I'm really trying to keep that chest up as much as possible. So we're gonna do that for 10 reps, and we're gonna do 2 full sets. We're gonna rest about 20 seconds in between. Let's go.
Pile and paper got them talking nice to me. Down the bottle, it be going right through me. Brown baby down to take a flight to me. They think that I'm stunting, but it's slight to me. Pile and paper got them talking nice to me.
20 seconds rest.
That's why the labels want the rights to me. CD on my back and it feel like to
Okay,
me.
let's go.
They think that I'm stunting, but it's slight to me. I don't understand it, how they got so timid. Told them I would do it and I overdid it.
So now we are gonna do the final little exercise. We're gonna go into some like power lateral lunges. So we're gonna take the step out into the side. We're gonna go down and then drive the knee up. So you're gonna drive and really cross at the waist. Cross, down, cross. Just really trying to keep that movement in there. You can, if you need to, just go into standard lateral lunges, but just that cross in the core just really makes it a little bit more like heated for you guys. Are we ready? We're gonna do 12 per side, 2 sets, and then we're done. We're gonna go straight into workout. Let's go.
I don't do the bass cause I don't got the minis. Pull up nothing teeny so they know who winning.
Okay, so hopefully you guys are now feeling a little bit warmer, and we're gonna get into the workout. As I obviously said at the beginning, you are more than welcome to do 5 to 10 minutes on your like favorite piece of cardio kit. I would just say that this is not actually like a cardio workout. It is literally just a warm-up. So if you are programmed cardio or you want to increase that cardio that you are doing, I wouldn't necessarily class that first bit of warm-up as your cardio exercise. But as for the mobility exercises, then I would definitely suggest doing them because it'll be really, really good for you for like longevity and also just for sustainability, just so that you're ensuring that you're not like burning out, but also it should give you a little bit more flexibility in your body eventually. So we're going to start with hip thrusts. All right, so when we start any of our workouts, we always want to kind of start with those compound exercises. The heaviest lifts are the ones that we can put the most effort into first, and that just allows us to progress heavily on those exercises and almost kind of make the exercises that mean the most kind of get the most effort, if that makes sense. So we are going to set up this bench. Obviously, you can use just the bench flat this way, but sometimes I feel that they are a little bit high, and for me, this bench is a little bit too high, so I'm actually going to use it at a decline. So I'm going to come to the side and I'm literally going to pull the lever out. So I'm going to pull it out and then lower it all the way down. So as you can see, that's now on a decline. Okay, so when we're setting up for the hip thrust, I know that this can be so fiddly and I feel like people sometimes get a little bit of like gym anxiety around it, but I'm telling you guys, it's so worth it. This exercise is so good for any like kind of glute activation. So I would definitely suggest just like sucking it in and just going for it. So I'm gonna pop the bar onto the rack first, and then I'm gonna add the plates on. It just makes it a hell of a lot easier rather than kind of putting it on the floor and then trying to like scurry the weights on, because it just proves so much more difficult. And also when there's already weights on there, it's easier then to add onto it. Okay, so with the hip thrust, we're going to go for 4 sets of 6 to 8. So when you are looking at the rep ranges that you've been set, you want to ensure that you're kind of reflecting the weight used for that. So if we're looking at a shorter rep range, i.e. like today, 6 to 8, and even lower, kind of 4 to 8, I would say you're going to opt for a slightly higher weight on your bar. Whereas if you get set higher rep exercises, for example, 12 to 15, you're going to obviously opt for a slightly lighter weight because it is a higher rep exercise. You always do want to do a couple of warm-up sets though prior to your big compound lift. So I am actually going to warm up with this weight for kind of 1 to 2 sets just to get my glutes really warm. And then what I'm going to do with you guys is I'm going to talk through the form of your hip thrust. So I'm going to start with my 2 warm-up sets, and you guys need to do that too, and then we're going to get into the working sets.
Ay, 1 time like 2 time like ay, me pop up.
So we're always going to grab a barbell pad. Okay, so we're going to literally put it in the middle of the bar, almost kind of where the rough meets the soft. So I'm going to pop it straight there. Now, as I said, the decline bench is a little bit more challenging to do kind of a hip thrust on. So if you do have a gym with like a hip thrust platform, then perfect. Okay, so before we start, I'm just going to roll the bar away and I'm going to show you the exercise without any weight. As you can see here, I'm going to literally rest my back onto the platform. And because there is a break here, it can easily make you curve your back this way, but we want to do the opposite, and we want to tuck our pelvis under into like a posterior tilt. So instead of being here, we're going to tuck the pelvis fully under. So there you can then see that my spine is fully neutral and fully flat. I am also going to ensure that my chin and my chest has like an orange essentially here, and it's never going to leave that space. I'm always going to have the same amount of distance between. So I'm going to come down, keeping the orange there, keeping that pelvis still, feeling as if it's tucked under, and then I'm coming all the way up. So I'm going to avoid that motion of here where it goes into your waist. You're going to keep it here and you're going to come down. Okay, so the same thing with the barbell. We're going to come up. The first rep is going to feel really funny, especially on this weird decline bench, but really make sure that you try and tuck the weight under first. So I'm going to tuck the weight under. Okay, so this is my first movement and I'm coming all the way up into here. I do sometimes like to like jiggle around a little bit just for some comfort. I'm keeping that orange in between my neck and my chest, coming down, and then I'm thrusting up. So we're going to go for 2 warm-up sets and then we're going to go into 4 working sets. Let's go.
Because it's necessary. Look, all my fresh up out the mud like a mineral. Riding with them soldiers, they salute me like a general. Hit the coast of Florida, feeling sorta like a Seminole. No exaggeration, all my literature be literal. Little do they know I do it bigger than they.
Okay, so hip thrusts are done. We're now going to go into our second kind of big lift of today's workout, and we're going to go into sumo deadlifts. So with a sumo deadlift, we are going to take the stance a little bit wider than a conventional deadlift. So conventional deadlift is just kind of hip width apart, whereas a sumo, we're going to take the feet out slightly wider than hips, and we are going to keep the feet turned out just slightly. With a sumo deadlift, we're going to lift in the middle of the movement. So we're going to lift from here rather than a conventional deadlift. We usually lift from outside of that movement. So So I am going to keep my feet slightly apart and I'm going to keep my hands in the middle. Now you have the option to do this kind of positioning with your hands. The only thing that I would suggest is just make sure that you every time do change hands so that you keep the strength in both hands equal, if that makes sense. Or if not, you can go just standard with the normal deadlift stance. But again, I would suggest potentially using lifting straps if you do feel as if your hands just can't grip the weight anymore. So we're going to hinge forward. So we're going to break at the hips, hinge forward, and we're going to come into a seated positioning. So I am hinging down, very similar to like a RDL. Yeah, I am going to have more of a bend in my knees just so that I can get to the bar. So most important thing, and a lot of people forget, is to engage the lats down. And that's almost feeling like you're squeezing newspapers in between your armpit and your body. So here, retract them back. You're going to push away from the floor, up, and you're going to rub the weight all the way down your legs and pop it back down onto the floor. So really practice that movement before if you haven't done it, but it is a really, really good exercise. I wouldn't say it necessarily recruits much more of your glutes, but I just find it's quite a fun workout, and I definitely prefer doing it over conventional deadlifts, even though you can go a little bit heavier in sumos, usually because the range of motion is slightly less, but it is a really good exercise to do. So I'm gonna do 1 or 2 warm-up sets as I said. I would only do the warm-up sets for kind of your first 2 big lifts. The rest of the exercises you can go straight into working sets as long as you're really, really warm. And then we're going to go into 3 rounds of 10 to 12 reps.
Ain't no thing to do my thing, it's what I did the best. I copped that crib and bought 2 chains and then I hid the rest. And it's okay to do your thing, but just don't do the most. I put my friends in that old Benz and took that to the coast. It ain't no thing to do my thing, it's what I do the best. I filled my mattress, paid my taxes, then I blew the rest. And it's okay to do your thing, but just don't do the least. I quit my boss and cooked that sauce and fed that to the street.
So next exercise, we're going to go into a squat, but we're going to go with a heel elevated squat. So obviously in here, as I said earlier, we are slightly limited to obviously what kit we have. So when we do choose some accessory exercises, we have to ensure that we are kind of using movements that you would probably use at a gym. So I have opted for this because I was going to do a leg press at the gym. So this is what I'm going to do instead. I'm keeping the weight relatively low because it is going to be high reps. So 3 sets of 12 reps. So I am also going to take my shoes off. Only reason is because I've got kind of a slightly elevated platform and it's not particularly comfy on the elevated wedge. Another thing that's really, really good with the wedge is if you do feel as if you can't come particularly low in your squats, it's really good for increasing the range of motion at the knee. So it does mean that you can come that little bit lower down, and especially it can help you if you're someone who tends to butt wink a lot. So if you don't know what butt winking is, it's where you come down into a squat and then you curve at the bottom. So you tuck that pelvis under, very similar to the hip thrust that we were doing earlier. But with the wedge, just having your foot underneath it, it allows that range of motion to be more at the knee, but also allows that lower back to kind of come back down in a nice neutral spine. So as I said, we're going to do 3 sets of 12 reps. Let's go.
Do the most. I put my friends in that old Benz and took that to the coast. It ain't no thing to do my thing, it's what I do the best. I filled my mattress, paid my taxes, then I blew the rest. And it's okay to do your thing, but just don't do the least. I quit my boss and cooked that sauce and fed that to the street. It's no thing, no sweat, I ain't really worried about it too much. Slight work, light work.
Okay, so if you don't have a wedge, you can use 2 plates. So you can just use like some small little plates and you're literally just gonna put your feet over the top of them, essentially exactly the same like this. Or you can use like one of these slightly thinner, like 5 kg plates, because they're thin enough to put your feet over. Obviously, if you're gonna go for anything slightly heavier, they are gonna be a thicker plate, and I wouldn't opt for that because the stability won't really be there, but any smaller plates will be fine.
You can't do, gotta change all that. Feeling myself, they be feeling me too. Baby, don't fight the feeling. I've been so hard that I'm trying to scale the roof. I'm trying to bite the ceiling. They be on bullshit like a zoo.
Okay, so we're now going to go into a superset. And for those that don't know, a superset is essentially where you put 2 exercises back to back just to kind of increase intensity in a workout, but also it does reduce time, so it makes your workout just that little bit faster whilst still doing like a good range of exercises. So we're going to start with Romanian deadlift, and I have got these little lifting straps on. I just find that they really, really help with gripping the bar or gripping the dumbbells, which is what I'm going to use today. But as I was saying earlier with the sumo deadlift, they can be really good just for using underneath. So they just help essentially with taking some of the grip off of your hands and off of your forearms. So once I've finished the RDLs, I'm going to go into like a deep plie squat just with the dumbbells in between my legs. And as well with the form, the same as the sumo deadlift, with the RDL, we're just going to hinge, break at the hips and lower down, really making sure that the chest is kept forward and that you're squeezing those newspapers in to your body and then all the way back up. We really want to keep that spine flat at the bottom. Of course, everyone's body is slightly different, so it is likely that you might have a slight curvature. Just make sure that it's not too much and get someone to check it if you need to, okay? I'm going to complete 3 sets of 8 reps of each exercise. So I'm going to go relatively heavy for me, so I'm going to need the lifting straps. Let's go.
Ay, ay. Look. I'm too cool for the rules, baby, get off of me. Never need no push, I do it all for me. Keep a couple real hitters, got them on call for me. Money moving, got it in the market where it ought to be. Too true for the flex, baby, don't cap to me. Drop 50, bring 150 right back to me. Keep a couple real hitters, got them on call for me. Money moving, got it in the market where it ought to be.
Okay, I'm out of breath now. We literally are on to the final bit of the workout. We're just gonna do a really little finisher. You don't necessarily need to do this, but I think it's definitely a good idea to just kind of finish off that workout with those like burning legs. Anyone who loves that feeling, you guys will know. So we're gonna literally go into walking lunges. We're gonna use the weights. We're gonna lunge all the way down to the end of the track. So in here, for example, it's probably about 30 meters. And then we're gonna drop the weights down and we're gonna lunge back with body weight. So I'd opt for like a slightly lighter weight than you normally would, just because it is the finisher. We're kind of just doing a burnout exercise. And we're gonna repeat that 3 times. Well, we're gonna repeat it 2 times. We're gonna do it 3 times in total. So walking all the way up, drop the weights all the way back down, rest 2 more times. Let's go.
Rules, baby, get off of me. Never need no push, I do it all for me. Keep a couple real hitters, got them on call for me. Money moving, got it in the market where it ought to be. Too true for the flex, baby, don't cap to me. Drop 50, bring 150 right back to me. Keep a couple real hitters, got them on call for me. Money moving, got it in the market where it ought to be. Look how we litty, we turned up the city, we raising the bar height. I've been finessing, just look at them stressing, yeah, they been up all night. Sipping this water with some
workout done, guys. Well done. I really, really hope that going through all of those kind of minuscule details really, really helped. If it did, please comment below and I will be sure to do another video just like this. If you have any specific requests, let me know. But thank you so, so much for watching this video once again, and I will speak to you all very soon. Bye.
All for me. Never need no push, I do it all for me. Keep a couple real hitters.